This is the Ace Founder Podcast.
So, welcome to the show, Ed. It's an absolute pleasure having you on today.
Thank you, Xavi. Thanks for having me on your podcast.
Thanks for coming on. And today we're going to be talking a little bit more about you and your company and diving into cybersecurity and how it affects startups in general. And before we do, though, I always like to let our guests introduce themselves. As you know, you're going to do a way better job at it than I do. So could you tell us a little bit more about you and about the work you do?
Yeah, you bet. So my name is Ed Jalinske. I'm the founder and CEO of Paxion Cybersecurity. I've spent nearly 2 decades in cybersecurity and technology, working across security operations, compliance, risk, infrastructure, incident response, advisory work, and enterprise security programs in different leadership capacities. And across that career, I've seen the same pattern over and over again. Organizations, regardless of ecosystem or vertical, in most cases, are not failing because they don't care about cybersecurity. They're failing because cybersecurity has become too fragmented, too expensive, too technical, and too difficult to operate. And I've seen very strong security teams buried under alerts, buried under tools, and an endless list of remediations that they need to, prioritize and act upon on a weekly basis, but with no real cadence behind it. I've seen leaders struggle to understand what their actual cyber risk is, and I've seen organizations buy multiple tools and still lack clarity on what their cyber posture is. And specifically with mid-market companies, and for our purposes, we'll define our ICP as mid-market, 200 to 5,000 employees. They're expected to defend themselves like Fortune 500 enterprises, but they don't have the Fortune 500 budgets, the staff, or the security maturity that a larger enterprise would. And so that lived experience is why our flagship product, PaxiAI, exists.
I love it. And I love the name. Before we dive in, because I'm super curious into what you guys do exactly and your solution, but I'm always curious, how did you come up with the name of the company, Paxion Security?
So the name is derived, and also the corporate branding and logo, they're all derived from the Latin word for peace, which is Pax, P-A-X.
I see.
And I assign that Latin word Pax to my dog Paxton when I named him back in 2018, 2017. And he's the inspiration for our corporate branding and logo as well. So his nickname is PaxE, and our flagship product is also called PaxE, P-A-X-I-E. And that stands for, and I'll only say this once, I promise, Proprietary Artificial XDR Intelligence for Enterprise. Just to clarify, for your listeners, if they don't know, an XDR is Extended Detection and Response. It's a type of technology in cyber.
That is so cool. Did you come up with the name before the abbreviation, or was that a pleasant coincidence, I should say?
It was at some point, I think, when I was trying to come up with the idea for this company and what its angle was going to be and the branding and I think at some point it clicked that the nickname translates well into that acronym, and I can assign it toward the name of our flagship product. And I think it was just coincidental that it ended up that way.
Really, really cool. Love it. And so could you tell us a little bit more about your solution then? First of all, let's start with what problem do you guys solve in particular for startups?
So cybersecurity today is fundamentally broken, specifically for smaller and mid-market enterprise companies. Organizations with, we'll say, roughly 100 to 5,000 employees are being forced to manage cybersecurity through disconnected tools, fragmented visibility, overwhelming numbers of alerts, periodic testing cadences, and I'm not even going to call them cadences because there's no cadence. There's just periodic testing. and growing compliance pressure, all while facing increasingly sophisticated AI generated and AI driven threats. And most of
Mm.
these organizations don't have massive security teams. They don't have deep internal cybersecurity expertise in some cases, or they don't have the operational bandwidth to manage enterprise grade cybersecurity stacks effectively. But they're still expected to defend themselves like Fortune 500 companies. And then the end result of that is tool sprawl, alert fatigue, operational inefficiency, slower remediation, increased cyber risk, which then leads to potentially loss of data, downtime, which leads to loss of money, and potentially things like ransomware attacks and regulatory fines in the tens of millions of dollars now. So despite spending heavily on multiple vendors, many organizations still lack centralized visibility, continuous validation, operational simplicity, and actionable intelligence. One of our core theses at Paxion is that the mid-market has largely inherited enterprise cybersecurity complexity without the resources. And that mismatch is one of the biggest structural problems in the industry. That's the problem PaxiAI was built to solve.
Very interesting. And you're right. When you say it's fragmented, because of what I'm learning, of all the experts I've interviewed, everybody's focus is tackling a different challenge, basically. And yours is actually very interesting as well. So, how do you guys solve this problem then? What makes your solution unique?
Our vision is simple: to create what we have created, because we have the core edition now and we're testing it in pilots, and we're
Okay.
still we're looking for mid-market pilot customers as well at the moment to help us test and take the full product to market this fall. But
Okay.
anyway, our vision is simple: it's to create a unified artificial intelligence native cybersecurity operating layer, purpose built for the mid-market enterprise. It is one cohesive system that addresses 6 to 10 areas of cybersecurity in one platform.
I see. So it's kind of like an all-in-one, all-in-one product kind of thing.
It is about as close to it as you can get within the industry, but I'm not going to call it that. I'm going to say it covers most areas that you'll need covered. And as we expand the product and continue to scale it, eventually it will cover,
Okay.
be a full purpose technology, right? But right now, PaxiAI, the core edition that we have, combines vulnerability management,
Mm.
extended detection and response, penetration testing, in other words, going in and testing your networks to see where the vulnerabilities are and the
Mm.
weaknesses are, threat visualization, um, continuous validation, SIEM, and our PaxE artificial intelligence cyber guide dog assistant, who's at the heart of the platform. He is
Mm.
your cyber guide dog. He is your incident response manager. He's your SOC
Mm.
administrator. He's your security analyst. And he is your cyber educator, all in one tool.
That is so cool. That's so cool. I can see how that would save businesses hassle and time as well if they have all this solution in one package. And you mentioned you're looking for mid-market people to test this out. Is this at what stage are you guys at the moment? Is this ready to launch, or are you on beta testing, or what's the situation?
Well, this is our beta testing phase.
Okay.
For the so it's our I'm not going to call it beta because it's a full product and it's finished.
Okay.
So that it's done. The core edition is
Okay.
complete. It is a commercial product at this point, and we're looking for mid-market size customers, 100 to 5,000 employee size enterprises to test the product with us, to come on board
Mm.
and get, never again premium pricing
Mm.
in perpetuity potentially with the product, as well as have the ability to have input on how we develop it and take it to market this fall, because we still have 2 more modules to build. And the full enterprise edition roadmap expands into governance, risk, and compliance, which is a separate
Mm.
module, which is your risk registry essentially, and also contains your policies and regulatory controls, whatever they might be. And then security education, training, and awareness. Those are the final two. And then that will comprise the full enterprise edition.
Wow.
And we're looking
Sorry,
at
Karen.
developing those. Yeah.
It's a really comprehensive solution that covers pretty much the full spectrum up to training, and that's crazy, man. Is it how big is your team actually? Is it how many people is your company?
So I'm the sole founder, and I have a board of advisors. There are 6 members on the board, and we also have a fully dedicated, contracted development team in a company called Sixth Summit Development. They're based in Canada.
Okay. Wow, that's really cool. And I assume, in terms of, I'm curious how this works. Does this sit in your client server and then watch it for everything, or how does the back end look like?
Yeah, it's 24/7 continuous validation of your defenses, because unfortunately most companies today don't have a clue.
This is a theme I'm learning with chatting with my conversations with cyber. I would have thought cybersecurity is something that would be like prioritized by most businesses, but what I'm learning is that it's not necessarily a priority for most businesses. Like, they don't. It's kind of like an afterthought. Is this something that you find is the case, or is this, are you what are your thoughts around that?
Gives me a lot of work to do. Yeah.
Oh, wow. In terms of educating potential customers,
Yeah. That's still the biggest area that needs to be addressed within most enterprises is the human element and the educational and awareness element. I just can't stress that enough. And it's also incumbent on all of us to take on a collective responsibility to educate ourselves and others about the very basics of information security, so that we can at least collectively start to thwart off these rogue and nation-state threat actors effectively.
Yeah, I would think so, because especially now with AI and everything going on there, I would think cyber is, something that every company, and I would think, they'll be queuing up to sign up for solutions or looking for solutions like this. But it's turning out it's not necessarily that is the case. Is there any particular reason why that's the case? Why are you finding that businesses are not prioritizing cyber?
I think in pretty simple terms, organizations see cybersecurity awareness training as a compliance checkmark. Is an annual or biannual or quarterly, depending on what you're talking about, checkmark. So what we're doing is, instead of static annual or biannual security awareness training, we're pushing organizations now with our technology to move toward continuous intelligent security education, so that PaxE is built into your dashboard and proactively comes up and educates you on a variety of things that he detects that you're doing on your screen. So, for example, let's say you're about to click on a link you shouldn't. Your desktop native PaxiAI will pop up and stop you from clicking on something that you're about to. Or after you've clicked on it, will pop up and say, look, this is why you shouldn't be doing it. Here's what you need to look out for next time. This is what you do now. Delete it, right? That is going to be part of our platform. And so you asked earlier, well, where will it all live? PaxiAI, the widget will live natively on your desktop as well as in your SaaS instance.
That's so cool. I don't think I've come across any software that actually does that, like the continuous education as part of the software as well. That is very, very cool. I'm guessing that's one of you guys' USP. It will be the education side. Because they always talk about making it a cultural thing in the organization. I guess this is something that could help with that.
And now with Gen AI, the abilities that we have with Gen AI. Our long-term vision is adaptive, artificial intelligence assisted security education that's personalized to organizational risk exposure based on what the platform has detected and what patterns it's detected as well. So it will eventually become customized to individual employees. But
Oh,
first, we're
wow.
focusing on having it be customized to the enterprise
To
itself.
the organization.
Yeah.
That is so cool. That would be so helpful. So that you don't have to keep on training people, and you can now create a solution specific to. And I see. Oh, can I
That's how
ask
you build it
why
into the culture, because
culture?
it
Yeah.
becomes part of their everyday operating systems, right? Part of their stack, their corporate stack of products that
Yeah.
they have.
Yeah. I'm curious why. Obviously, there's a business reason for it, but why go after the bigger companies, the 100 to 1,000? Why not the smaller companies?
We are
Okay.
part of our so without getting too far ahead, because our main focus right now is our flagship product, taking it to market, getting it right now, and really making it, just incredible and world class, which it already is. But we really need to work with other enterprises to get it there. Once that's done, we have a plan in place for a personal and small business product
I see.
to be released in around 2027, 28, and that will be named after my daughter, Anna. And the only thing I'm going to say right now is that ANA will stand for Artificial Nanotechnology Assistant. The rest of the name I'm keeping secret.
Fun times ahead. Yeah, I love it. I like how much thought you put into naming it, and how much creativity goes into that.
Thank you.
Naming it after the dog, and it's really cool. Let's talk about AI now. Obviously, that's the world we live in today, and so one of my somebody I was interviewing said something that struck me is like AI amplifies what the human can do, which is kind of true, or not to quote them exactly, but something around that lines. And I was thinking, fraudsters can do stuff, and then with AI they can do even more stuff as well. So, what are your thoughts around AI and how it affects businesses
Well,
in terms
I
of
can speak
cybersecurity?
to AI specifically as it pertains to the business of information security and the impact that that has on business. And what
Okay.
makes PaxiAI, our flagship product, compelling isn't just improved cybersecurity outcomes. Part of it involves what you were just saying. It fundamentally changes because of the AI component, the Gen AI component. The technology fundamentally changes the economics and operational usability of cybersecurity for now mid market, but eventually for small business and personal, right? And then also across OT ecosystems with another product we'll have. But organizations are no longer forced to buy and manage multiple disconnected products, uh, maintain fragmented operational workflows, or depend on large specialized teams just to maintain visibility. With what we're building and what we have built already, PaxiAI Core Edition, organizations gain centralized visibility, AI assisted operations, 24/7 continuous validation of their defenses, operational simplicity, and improved cyber resilience, all with reduced vendor sprawl and accelerated remediation. And that's just inside one unified adaptive cybersecurity platform. So, for many organizations, consolidating vendors into PaxiAI becomes not just a cybersecurity decision, but an operational and economic decision.
Makes a lot of sense. It does make a lot of sense. I could see businesses. I think the cyber industry is in good shape. 'Cause AI keeps getting better. Criminals are gonna do what they're gonna do with it. So I can see there's room for innovation, and there's gonna be more need for cyber solutions like yours going forward in the future. But I guess one thing I am curious. Let's say in the workings of the software. Let's say somebody watching this or a founder watching this would like to test out your software. What does that look like for them? Do they need to install it, or would you come into their platform, look at what's going on, and install something for them? But what's the workings? What does that look like?
We would provide white glove service for the customer
Okay.
through setup if that's what they'd like,
Okay.
or they can choose to take it and install it on their own. It's actually quite simple to do once we provide an administrator account on the platform. You can assign different roles within the platform very easily to your team through each of the modules. It's quite seamless, and the actual setup, depending on which module the enterprise wants to use, really only takes a couple days.
That's so cool. And I'm guessing this is, you say you were going after the enterprise. Are you talking about a CISO level now? Is that who you'd be speaking to, or are you speaking to the founder? Or?
Yes, typically a CISO or CIO or CTO
Okay.
or CEO for that matter. Anyone who's sitting on the board making business decisions or monetary decisions for the enterprise is typically who we're speaking with. Yeah, but technical as well, obviously.
Because it's a very technical aspect of that business. Awesome. This has been a wonderful chat, Ed. I've enjoyed learning so much about Paxion and your unique solution. Very, very unique. I really love the education and the cultural side of integrating that aspect into your software. I think did that come from intelligence, or was that why did you guys decide to include that feature in the software?
Which feature are you referring to, Xavi? My apologies, I didn't quite catch.
In terms of educating users, like you were saying, maybe you shouldn't be clicking this link, or what you should do now that you've clicked it. That particular feature, I found that very impressive.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So that idea came from my lived experience
Okay.
using different technologies and understanding how social engineering works, and really what we're able to do at this point to either barely get ahead, I'm going to say, or just break even with these threat actors, because truly cybersecurity is a break even business. And that's really the future of breaking even now in the world of Gen AI involves educating your populace as well as having technologies that can keep up.
Couldn't agree more. This has been a really, really wonderful, insightful chat. As we wrap up, I always like to ask for one tip, cyber tip in this case, for any of our viewers watching this. What's one thing they could take away from after watching this episode?
I can't stress this enough. As I said earlier, it's incumbent on all of us to take command of our cyber maturity, understand the basics, learn the basics, and then teach the basics to one another, our friends, and our loved ones. Because that's ultimately how all this is going to have to unfold if we want to keep up with these malicious actors out there.
I agree. It's going to affect, and it does, even from your own personal email to your Netflix or to whatever. They're coming, these guys are coming for you. So, yeah, I couldn't agree more. Great way to wrap up, Ed. What's the best way for our viewers to go learn more about your software, possibly work with you? What's the best platform for them to do that?
So feel free to email me at ed.jalinske, that's spelled JALINSKE, at Paxion Cyber, that's PaxionCyber.com. Or you can visit us at PaxionCyber.com and send a request through that web address as well, and it'll come to my inbox.
Awesome. And we're going to leave all of that, the links to all of that in the show notes and under this video as well. Ed, it's been an absolute pleasure chatting to you. Thank you so much for coming on.
Likewise, Xavi. Thanks for having me. Appreciate you.